Listen up. This is the one and only. I'm telling you to watch That Way Cool Wrestling Show.
And welcome to That Way Cool Wrestling Show. My name is Danny J. Along with my good friends Charles Gemini Gregory, LeGrande Onslaught, Don't Call Me Action Jackson, and Mad Mark Lindsay. We got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about the evolution of the finisher. Everybody wants to see their favorite wrestler give that one great move that takes it down and takes it home and makes sure that 1, 2, 3 gets slapped to the mat. We're going to talk about that today, how that evolved basically from years ago to today, what was acceptable back then versus now, and you know, the danger level, as well as what we, you know, the level of what we're going to be doing with these moves and what to expect. Charles, if you we'll talk to you real quick about this. We're all fans of old school. A lot of us date back to 85, 86, etc. And, you know, we used to see moves like suplexes and, you know, neck breakers and stuff like that. You know, why did that go away and why do we need to get more?
I think it's because basically the fans have gotten smarter. And there's so many moves you can do that you're just going to copy. There's no inventing of a new move. They just call it a different name.
Sure.
I mean, everything out there. I mean, the only thing I've seen lately that I say was something new was with AJ Styles. With that, but I think they just banned that. They won't even nothing to do with WWE anymore. So, but I mean, back in the day, a lariat was a finisher.
Yeah.
You know, now it's just something you do. So it's hard. I mean, you got to keep reinventing the wheel. So, like I said, the fans are smarter. We're all growing up. We're growing up with wrestling. Now it's like, I remember back, a leg drop used to be a finisher. You still got some jerk-offs that do a leg drop that think it's a finisher, no names. And that was a finishing move.
Yeah.
Now it's like a leg drop. In the middle of a match, they might do it 3 times.
We have a DDT, same thing. Jake Roberts made a career on it, and now that's like that's just a sequence move. Now it's a transition.
It's not even a setup. Yeah,
yeah,
that's the thing. And I think the thing was back then. And is it maybe what we're being fed? I mean, is anybody really saying, "Hey, now I don't believe this"? Like when I used to watch Tully Blanchard in the ring, and you're watching him and technically take somebody down, and then all of a sudden he does that slingshot suplex.
Yeah.
It wasn't completely devastating, but it was cool to watch him do it, and it was like his perfected thing, and you just knew that, hey, that's what took somebody out. Is it maybe that they're telling us what should be acceptable and what's not? Because what would happen if everybody just still did those moves? Would there be some sort of an uproar? Or, you know, or will we just still be accepting it?
Well, I think you're talking about this is the evolution of the finisher.
Yeah.
And I think during the course of time, to get opponents over, they would kick out of the finishing move. And I think you started seeing that a lot more as the late 80s, early 90s came into play. You know, when Ric Flair
I say late 90s.
Okay, but
yes.
I'm gonna make a reference to the Great American Bash '90 and even Chi-Town Rumble '89 when Flair lost his titles. Yeah. You know, when you saw Flair going for the figure 4, you knew, okay, it's a figure 4.
Match is over.
Either the match is over, or that face is going to find a way to get out and overcome. And Steamboat and Sting both won their titles with inside cradles from the figure 4. So the evolution was, okay, well, the figure 4 was the finisher. Now we're going to throw this other ending in, and now we're going to throw this other possibility in to keep the fans on their feet, excited, and to keep the, you know, I mean, there's always a pop when you see an unsuspected.
But there's a difference between countering a figure 4, which if you watch a lot of Flair's matches, even the ones that he actually won, you know, sometimes Dusty Rhodes was in a figure 4 for a number of minutes until he eventually, quote unquote, passed out or whatever the case would be. You know, and it's not, I don't think, unheard of or unlikely that someone could possibly do a roll-up counter or something like that because you're already half connected into the move. I think my scenario would be is that, let's take Jake Roberts for a second. He delivers a DDT. Now all of a sudden, this most devastating move that everybody was out like a light, now somebody kicks out of it?
Right.
That's where I think is a difference because it's, you're not expecting it. You're almost expecting it. You're like, all right, that's believable that someone could persevere enough in the pain to try and grab Flair and roll him up, or turn it over and reverse the move. But in a sense of like getting a major finisher, like a DDT as an example, or even let's Paul Orndorff, he pile drives somebody, then you kick out of it. You know what I mean?
Like, I think my favorite was the Diamond Cutter. When you seen him, DDP, do the Diamond Cutter,
Yes.
that was it. Now, what?
Gotta do it 3 or 4 times.
3 or 4 times. Just, I mean, we all know. We watch wrestling. Everyone here watching the show watch wrestling. John Cena's, I'm like, really? That's a finisher? He does the same sequence.
Wait a minute. I'm not even... Think about it. What John Cena's doing is his whole, you can't see me getting into it, blah, 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 blah. Back when it was the Spicoli driver...
Yeah, oh yeah.
When Louis Spicoli was doing it, Radford, whatever you want to call him, you knew what was about to happen. It was over. I mean, he tweaked it. Yeah. Everybody has to tweak a wrestling move to make it their own. Because I can go out and do a German suplex, and the first thing out of somebody's mouth is either going to be Benoit or something like that.
Right.
So you have to tweak it to fit your own devices.
First of all, you know you're not allowed to use that name anymore. Watch it.
I don't give a damn. I like the guy.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you
And
this.
I'm not going to go against his
But
legend.
Spicoli, when Spicoli did a Spicoli driver, though, I mean, it literally was a DVD for all intents and purposes.
Yes.
I mean, all Cena's really doing is a modified fireman carry slam, which is about as devastating as a body slam to me, at least.
To me, yeah.
Well, let me ask you,
You know, at least the way it looks. Because
I think it's all
about
the individual who does it.
But it's also about how the individual delivers that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
well, that's what I want to touch base on. All 3 of you have been in the ring.
The
You know,
deliveries.
since the I guess 2003, the ruthless aggression era of WWE, do a lot of these finishers now have to be safer now that everybody knows with the concussions and with the injuries that can happen?
I think-
Did they have to tone it down?
I think they toned it down. I think I'm going back to when Austin hurt his neck. All of a sudden, you really couldn't see the pile driver. Accidents happen in wrestling. It's part of the business.
Right.
That's all to it. Do you agree with it? No. It's part of the business. I understand you got the top moneymaker in your company getting hurt.
Yes.
You know, and it's all, we all know it's all about money. Let's not get it twisted. It's about the money. Yes, you do want to make it safer for guys, but guys also have to protect themselves. Sometimes when guys get hurt in the ring, they're not protecting themselves. I mean, you can count on that guy, know that guy can be your best friends. Accidents happen. Okay?
Well, look what happened with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Owen Hart.
Well, you mentioned that,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You protect yourself also. Just like that, you pull it. I mean, it's all about protect yourself. But like finishers now, it's so. I think the problem is it started with the evolution of finishers, and I think LeGrande would agree. When I started wrestling, it was old school. Now it's only spot monkeys. They'll do 55 spots in 10 minutes, and they're like 4 finishers in a row, and the guy's kicking out. So now there's nothing you can do but keep trying to build and beat it. That's why I think, you know, now with different moves, you might have to do it twice or 3 times. Because it's normally the little guys or people who just get themselves over that can't tell a story in the ring.
Right.
That sit there and want to do 20, 30, 40 spots, not knowing the next match,
Well,
that's their finisher.
okay, here's a point to that. Here's a point to that, though. You got guys like Diamond Dallas Page or
Yes.
Randy Orton,
Yes.
who out of nowhere
Could hit that.
can hit that cut.
Yes.
It's out of, whoa, he nailed it from this way, he nailed it from
And
the
it's
top
hot.
rope, he nailed it from every, he pulled it out somewhere. That's
A finisher.
the finisher, and that's impressive to a wrestling fan. You know, when you're watching John Cena go through 5 knuckle shuffle, you can't see me. It's like when you're playing a video game, and all of a sudden you're like, he did the move, now I gotta wait and get destroyed. And you can't do nothing about it. You can button smash all you want.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen, because you gotta go through this whole thing.
When it comes out of
Who was,
nowhere.
what's his name? Was it Scotty Too Hottie? That did the worm.
Yeah.
That thing took 17 minutes to get through it. To get through this whole dance, and he goes around, and by that time I could have been packed and in my limo and gone.
But we have to admit, we all know when he did the worm, what happened.
The whole audience got it.
It's all about that's what the crowd wants to see. We do understand that.
A lot of times people get so jaded about things, but you got to remember, when it all boils down to it, everything you do in that ring isn't for the guys in the back.
No.
I'm not, when they pay their $5, $10, $50, whatever dollars to go see that show, I'm not doing what I'm doing in the ring for other guys who's going to be getting in the ring after.
Right.
I'm doing whatever I got to do to make sure that those people in those seats have the best time possible. If I got to do a worm, if I got to do whatever, if that's the thing, then hey, that's what it is.
If you think, I mean, not to cut you off there, Rikishi, when he used to smack his ass, what happened? We start laughing.
The crowd.
Yeah.
We all start laughing.
But at least it didn't take that long now.
No, but things like that.
He did it, he backed up, he did his thing,
you
and
ain't
he won.
going,
It was done.
That wasn't a finishing move that put his ass in somebody's face.
Yeah, you got a point.
I mean, and folks
finished.
understand that, like I said, none of us have been in the ring. We've all actually literally been in the ring together, with the exception of Mark. I've wrestled LeGrande. If LeGrande broke out and started doing the Macarena in the middle of, like, right before he's about to finish me off, I might just roll out of the ring and say, all right, listen, I'm going to take a breather for a second until you're done, then you come back and you can crack me out.
Well, you just mentioned the one thing I always hated about Hulk Hogan. You know, if he's getting hulked up, why is Paul Orndorff, why is Ric Flair, why is Roddy Piper not getting the hell out of Dodge and letting them cool down before they come back in the ring? I mean,
why wouldn't you just grab his finger and break it?
Well, there you go.
Or poke him in the eye.
Yeah, poke him in the eye, like going through all that stuff. You know, the man obviously can't hear, so I mean, at that point,
But,
you know.
but you do have to admit, I mean, evolution, like you have people like the Taker.
Yeah.
You seen that Tombstone Power Driver.
You know it's
So
over.
when he set up and did all this,
Yeah.
it was all the setup. It's all about the work, all about the setup, and you just go nuts, you know. But with him, people didn't kick out of that as much, you know. He might, well, he did it twice, you know. But then you have, what's his name? See, there I go again. I'm thinking too much. Triple H, when he worked Triple H,
Hell in a Cell, yeah.
Hell in a Cell, he gave him 2. Okay, respectable.
Right.
The man's a 13-time heavyweight champion. Respectable. It's just even now.
But you know what though? It's getting to be to the point, and we could bring Brock Lesnar into it against Taker.
Yeah.
You know, and other stuff like that. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, it seems like everybody's getting Super Saiyan, then Super Saiyan 2.
I'm sorry. I'm 39 years old.
And I'm older, and I still know this stuff. And, you know, it's like they're trying to make somebody more godlike each time. And eventually there's got to be a ceiling to where you're like, all right, just stop. Just stop. He dropped the guy on his head. Let it go.
If you know, who has the worst finisher right now?
Besides Hulk Hogan? And he's
Besides-
not wrestling.
right
He's
now.
not wrestling right
Who has
now.
the worst finisher? And can't get over to save his life. I'm sorry. Ryback.
Yeah, true.
He's about as dull as hell. No offense if you ever watch Ryback. But it's he's not a mic man. So now, you know, he doesn't stop the finish. Some guys need things like that to try to build them up. That's all to it. You take a person like a Dolph Ziggler, he hits a zigzag, people go nuts because he can pull it out of nowhere. I just feel that, you know, some guys need that. You know, they just have to have
this won't be a popular statement for a lot of people, but Goldberg, I'll bring him up for a second. Someone that was brought in very, very green, okay? Very plain looking, as we saw. He was an answer to Stone Cold Steve Austin at the time for WCW.
A bad answer.
Okay.
For a while he got over, but...
But he got over for a while. But you know what really made him get over was his finisher.
His finisher.
Not necessarily the spear, because everybody spears. From little guys to big guys, it's an overdone move. But his jackhammer, which was a very simplistic move, once again, it goes back to sometimes less is more. You know, it wasn't any different than Tully Blanchard doing a slingshot suplex. He held him up and then just turned him over. And but when he did it to,
also.
When he did it to the Giant,
yes,
otherwise known as the Big Show,
that
was like, wow. And it wasn't like something where he barely got it. He held him up. A credit to Goldberg. He was strong enough to hold him up, keep him there steady, and then drop him. That was, I mean...
Well, I think that had a lot to do with the Giant posting, too.
Oh,
right,
sure. Well, and
Paul
understand...
White, let me tell you something. Paul White, the Big Show, Giant, whatever you call him, is one hell of a worker.
Yes.
Yes, he's older. Yes, he is older, but in his prime, I seen him in the gym working out. He could do a drop kick. jump off the top rope. He wasn't allowed to.
Right.
It doesn't fit his persona.
Right.
But the man was one hell of a worker. You know, he loved to work. They give him a hard time now. He's probably my age. I think he probably is my age. He's probably, I'm 47, so he's right there. But he still gets out there every day and does what he has to do.
Well,
his evolution of the finisher, though, went from a choke slam to the power of the punch. You know?
Yeah, but that fits him. The man's hand is this big. So if it shows him hitting you, that can be believable.
But on the same page, why is he world champion now?
You got a 7-foot guy with a hand the size of a damn medicine ball punching you in the face. Of course you're going to go to sleep.
Right. The reason why he's not
a
the champion right now, okay, and he has been a champion.
Right.
The reason why he's not the champion right now is because, let's face it, in reality, if someone that devastating was able to get a hold of the title,
you never
think
lose.
about Andre the Giant, you would never lose. You could just fold him.
I actually lost. I was that. No, shut up.
But in true story though, when I met Paul White, I went to shake his hand. He literally handed me his finger. His finger was about as big as this microphone here, and I shook his hand like a 5-year-old would talk to his dad and say, "Here you go, thank you." I shook the man's finger and I said, "Jesus Christ, this guy is so huge." He stood up. My top of my head came to the bottom of his pecs.
Well, that's with anybody.
Now, I'm like that. But, you know what I mean? But at that time, that was pretty devastating to me, you know.
I ain't got nothing to say about that.
I'm going to say this. Mr. Cameraman, can I move to the right just a little bit? I'm feeling a little something right now.
But getting back to what I was about to say, though, Hulk Hogan.
Nipple talk later.
We're talking about Hulk Hogan, you know, leg drop, punch, oof, you know, this goofy persona.
Back rake.
You watch, back rake. You watch him in Japan. The man can wrestle.
No, because he had to.
Yeah.
Here he can do that.
But
Japan,
also,
they made him work.
But
also going for that over.
But also, I think Vince Senior / Junior wanted what they got out of Hogan in the States.
I don't believe that. I
don't think they demanded more out of him.
I think Hogan was bringing in so much money. It didn't matter what he did.
That's right.
And he got away with doing that BS.
Well,
I see when he worked the Rock that time. The Rock worked the hell out of him. Made him because Rock at the time was here.
Yeah.
He was the whole damn show.
Yeah.
You're not gonna come in there and do that 3 punches, your big boot and all that. The Rock wasn't gonna have that. Right. The Rock was putting all the people in the seats. The Rock could have came out there. He came out with a ukulele for God's sake, and 50,000 people went nuts. Yeah. So at that time, it was his time. There's guys that want to work, and there's guys that just get away with what they have to do to get the money, no matter what you say. Like, I always come back, you guys know I'm a Ziggler fan. I'm a Dolph Ziggler fan because he puts everyone over. He makes people look good. He does.
Which we're getting emails about this. They said if you like Ziggler so much, you should marry him. They so much.
That's legal.
People have actually been saying that.
No, but you know what? Look, y'all know where I'm at. If you're watching the show, you know me. Come say it in my face.
Come say to his yeah. I'm sitting next to him.
Why don't you marry Ziggler? I didn't finish it. Stay away. Stay away.
No, but it just boils down to what you're coming against is time periods.
Yes, you're right.
Back in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, you can get away with a drop toe hold as a finisher.
Yeah.
You can get away with Barry Bonrosky, prime example.
Blackjack
hit you with the claw, and it's over.
Even Barry Windham did it.
For a while.
That when he was with
Van Eriks.
And before then, with the Horsemen.
You know the best thing is you have to admit though, when they used to reverse the claw, come on, you'll have that.
What? Stop in the hands?
And you reverse the claw, and they put the claw on themselves. It has to be the best move ever.
Like they couldn't control their own hand.
Yeah.
Hand had its own
What's the best move ever?
And it's good though.
That's realistic.
It was entertaining. It was entertaining.
It was.
What the people wanted, and it gave you that like you're imagining something like, oh my God, he can't, you know.
But he can't control it.
But the kids, the people, you put them in the seats. I'm not just saying you put people in the seats. You do give the crowd what they want.
Right.
You know, people want more exciting finishers. They want people kicking out. Even though I have to admit, when you watch sometimes and a guy kicks out a finisher, like, oh yeah, I like that. That's pretty funny. You know, it's the evolution of the finisher is just, I think, how much wrestling has evolved now. Because back then, you didn't have a 200-pound champion, 220-pound champion. They used to like big guys. You know, little guys were like, they were mid-carders. Now the big guys are the mid-carders. And the guys, the Seth Rollins and them, you know, these guys can move. I mean, we all know they can move.
And those champions back then were all the big, burly barrel-chested dudes who you figure would lift cars and eat steaks the size of couch cushions.
I think like the mid-carders, the regular-sized guys, 190, 225, they were the reason for the evolution. Because first, they had to do more to get over. They did a lot more moves, a lot more spots in the ring. I think it's just totally progressed.
But you know what? But you mentioned earlier, though, now it's a spot fest. So you went from that claw hold to the Frankensteiner. Scott Steiner was the first to really use a Frankensteiner in America. Now you have the Canadian Destroyer. So you're going from the claw hold to the figure four to the Frankensteiner to the Canadian Destroyer
to the Styles, man.
Right. And it's like, when are you going to start? Again, I bring up the injuries, I bring up the concussions. When are you going to start scaling it down, where those finishing maneuvers can mean something? I mean, Rick Rude did a Rude Awakening, which again is a setup move now. Yeah. You DDTs. We all talk about
Triple H's pedigree has been modified.
Yes.
So that the recipient doesn't have his arms trapped.
No, he lets go.
So he can protect himself, because that was a scenario too. And with this concern about injuries, and there's two things behind it. There's one, I got to make my money, and if I don't have my workers, I can't make any money. Two, I don't want to have lawsuits. We're in a high, you know, with everything, with the concussions and with injuries and stuff like that, and they don't have insurance and this, that, and the other thing. It's a big scenario for them to say, all right, well, we're going to try and make this as safe as possible. It's a good start.
I mean, it is totally
but in the same sense, though, it's like they want to demand some serious-looking maneuver, but they want to take away the fact that, you know, what's going to happen if you do that. You know what I mean?
Well, there's a real simple solution to this. You know? Take away the sports entertainment and bring back the wrestling, and you're going to be good. Yeah, but you bring back the old. Well, it's not going to happen, I know. But you bring back
the sports entertainment that could be scaled back, because I'll tell you why. You got shows like ROH. I watch ROH 1 hour, and it beats 3 hours of Raw any day of the week. And it actually brings me back.
What is it, JAPW, is it? That's the other one, right?
Yeah. And I watched that. And the 1 hour is like, especially ROH, and I want to give props to them because it brings me back to Worldwide Wrestling. When I watch that, one promo, 3-4 good matches, and I'm like, this really looks like what I used to watch like on Saturday morning.
You have to admit there, I like ROH. Got a couple of friends in ROH, you know.
Yeah.
But it's still, it's a spot fest. A lot of
wrestling is a spot fest now anyway.
Yeah, it's a spot fest. You know, I do like the way they do their promos. I really do like that. They're kind of a little old school, AWA type. Yeah. Which it should be, you know. Quick promo, you know, stuff like that. But, I mean, in general, you're never going to take away the sports entertainment. That's all. That's where the money is. I think it needs to go back to better training of the guys. We used to have old saying, the guy's not selling. You know what I mean? Guys need to sell a little bit more. And if they don't want to sell, you make them sell. You know? If they go back to that just a little bit more, I think it brings that to the forefront, the finishers. I mean, you're getting a DDT, then 2 seconds later, you're on the top rope. You know, like, really?
Well, I agree 100%, but they also need to scale back the kicking out of the finishers. And that's a way that they can
use that finisher.
But once again, they're trying to build that, you know...
The crescendo, I guess you're trying to...
Yeah, like this.
You're trying to build this animosity between the two guys. Like, this guy really is worthy. It's not going to be a clean finish, etc., blah, blah, blah. But now going back to what you were saying before about an unbelievable finish, and he's one of my favorites, Ronnie Garvin. You go to JCP, he was punching somebody in the head, knocking him out. Illegal move.
Hands of stone.
You know, the hands of stone. But it got less believable when he started doing the Garvin stomp. There is no way I'm going to be that beat down that I'm going to lay there straight and prone and wait for you to take 16 minutes to fucking stomp every part of my body and not move.
I say something. I should use that move. Shut up. That's a wrestle.
But even Randy
used to be a headlock. Now it's that.
So Randy Orton started using it as well at one point.
Yes,
He was doing his version of the Garvin
Yes,
stuff.
he did. Absolutely.
Not as a finisher, though.
Not as a finisher,
No.
though.
Because it's the evolution of the finisher. It was the Garvin stuff.
wear down.
Now it's just a
setup.
a sequence, a setup. Yeah. So.
But once again, I think these setups, and I think what we liked back in the day was the whole match was a setup, but then the finisher was the finisher.
You were telling the story more.
Yeah, you really were.
Story
Instead of the whole story being this long finish of moves, you know, stuff like that. We have a lot that we can talk about this. We say this every week, but you know what? Once again, we are running out of time. If you want to hear anything about this, if you got any comments or anything like that, join us on Facebook. It's That Way Cool Wrestling Show on Facebook. We also have thatwaycoolwrestlingshow.com. There's actually a contact form on there. You can send us emails and we can discuss that kind of stuff on the show as well. For Gemini, Onslaught, and Mad Mark, my name's Danny J. We'll see you at the matches. Goodbye, everybody.